Hi, welcome to Vet Resources Check-In. I'm Andy Martinez with the Veterans Experience Office. Today, our guest is James Albino, and he is the director for the Center for Minority Veterans. Hi, James.
Hi, Andy.
Thank you for being with us today. We have our first question. How does the Center for Minority Vets support our nation's veterans?
Thanks for the question, Andy, and thanks for the opportunity. You make an important point. While we are the Center for Minority Veterans, we serve all that put on a uniform and their families. We do that by relying on four pillars. The first is awareness. We are mindful of veterans' needs and responsive to those needs and alert for their needs. We provide access by providing contact information, providing entryway into the VA system, and help them navigate the VA system. We are advocates. We promote minority veterans issues, and we sponsor minority veterans policy. And finally, we take action. We facilitate responses. We are data-based decision makers, and we seek the data, and we rely on measured outcomes to achieve our goals.
That's a very large mission, a very important mission. So our next question is around the period of crisis that we've been going through, to include the pandemic, economic dislocation, the end of war. So how do you think veterans have responded to all this?
Indeed, we all have been through a couple of years of rough waters. As a former navigator on a destroyer, I can tell you that storms don't last forever. The first thing I would recommend, and the things that we've seen here at the VA, is that you need to acknowledge the challenge. You are not alone. You're part of a big team, and the VA is there to support you. Importantly, you need to tap your networks. Veterans need to rely on the networks that they've developed throughout their lives and their careers, especially those at the VA. And finally, reach out. And that's where I think the VA has stepped up to the plate. The VA has provided a number of outlets for veterans to be able to accomplish the preceding two recommendations. And if you go to the VA website, you'll see that there's a lot of opportunities to do both. Acknowledge the challenge and deal with it, and be able to tap your network and use the VA resources.
So you talked about advocacy earlier. Can you talk a little more about how VA advocates for minority veterans so they get equal care, not only at the VA, but in the community?
Sure, Andy, another great question. And that requires a little bit of background. The Center for Minority Veterans was created by Congress in 1994, specifically to serve as a principal advisor to the Secretary on adoption and implementation of policies and programs affecting minority veterans. We do that a number of ways. We have the minority veterans coordinators are veteran employees that are on veteran VA facilities throughout the country. There's about 260 or so of them in every VA facilities whose collateral duty is to engage veterans at the local level. So on the ground, you have a representative at your VA center, whether it's an RO, a regional office, or a VA medical center. As well, we have an advisory council on minority veterans. These are subject matter experts. All of them themselves are minority veterans that provide us and the Secretary guidance and input on how VA policies are implemented. And last and certainly not least, we have a fantastic staff here in our offices, and I can't underestimate how fortunate I am to work with them. My staff and my deputy director every day deal with veterans day in and day out on the ground to resolve the issues or address the matters that we talked about in the first part of the question.
Thank you, James. So you mentioned earlier that we want to take care of all veterans, right? All veterans and their families, their caregivers and survivors. So can you talk for a minute about how can all veterans reach the VA and receive the health and benefits that they've earned?
Certainly, I would welcome all veterans to go to the veterans VA.gov, which is the primary page for the VA. But the process of getting engaged with the VA starts with filling out an application for benefits. It's a VA form that's available on the website. It's VA form 10-10EZ, and it's online at VA.gov. You can visit in person or one of the VA medical centers or the CBOX, community-based centers. You can call the toll-free hotline and get help. Finally, and I'm happy to announce this, the VA is rolling out a brand new app that's available on the Apple iStore and Google Play. It's called VA Health Benefits app. If you go to your Google Play or iStore right now, you can go ahead and download it. This is if you're enrolled. You can go ahead and download that app and access 80% of your VA information.
That sounds like a great resource. The VA has a lot of other resources too. The vet centers are amazing for readjustment counseling and things like that as well. So, James, is there anything else you'd like to share today on minority veterans?
Again, pleasure to serve with my comrades out in the field. Pleasure to serve with you and your team, Andy, and I really appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you, James, and to everyone watching, we appreciate you tuning into our Vet Resources check-in segment. We have a slide coming up that'll show some various resources and phone numbers and websites that you can go to for more information. We appreciate you watching today and take care.
Thank you.